Watching a bunch of cardinals like gossip and spill tea about each other and trash each other's names like high school girls was actually a lot more fun than I expected. Hello, everyone. I am back with another review from the Toronto International Film Festival. One of the last ones I will be doing. It took me a little longer to do this one because I was a little unsure of how I felt, and I'm still a little unsure, but I've gestated on it. I wasn't as in love with this film as lots of people were, but I didn't hate it. There are great things about it, and there are things that I didn't love about it. Once the Catholic Church's most powerful leaders have gathered from around the world and are locked together in the Vatican halls, Lawrence finds himself at the center of a conspiracy and discovers a secret that could shake the foundation of the church. This film was a frustrating dilemma for me. It's beautifully crafted, it's beautifully acted. I just feel like it's a little confused on what it wants to say, or even if it even has anything to say at all. It does a good job building up intrigue and tension and suspense as like the drama unfolds and like these web of lies and dark secrets continue to be revealed. But oftentimes it felt like to me the story would just throw in twists and turns for shock value and surprise more so than like narrative or thematic purpose and meaning. And the same goes for that ending twist that I'm sure some of you have probably already heard about, some of you may have not, but there's a twist at the end of this film that no one will see coming unless you've read the book or read spoilers. And I like the idea of the twist. Like there's some really interesting stuff to explore about the church and its patriarchal structure in that end twist. But instead, it feels like it's just kind of thrown in last second and it's not really further explored or discussed. And I feel like that's what happens with a lot of the ideas in the films. Like it's just thrown in there and it's not really like there's not a ton of thematic discussion. If you just want like a fun little thriller that's surprisingly campier and funnier than expected, you'll have a good time. I still had a good time. I just, with the raves this film was like getting before I saw it, and like it being a huge awards player, I was kind of expecting a little more than that. But let's start off with some positives. All of the performances, especially Ralph Fiennes, were great. You will hear if anyone talks about any performance, it will be Ralph Fiennes because this film is centered around him. He's at the center of it all. He's the powerhouse in it. Him in particular, he does a phenomenal job portraying the weight of the responsibility that Lawrence feels in this film, that he has to carry out this task. He's a very reserved, stoic character, so you don't like he doesn't have like these burst out like screaming scenes of like all of the stress he is under, but you can see it in his eyes and his subtle movements and all that stuff throughout the entire film, but in like subtle looks and stuff like that. But the most importantly, I like to call these kind of performances ocular performances, where you can see so much of what is going on inside of the character, even though they're not externally representing it in these huge scenes. You can see so much of that in their eyes, and he does that beautifully. He is great. Like I said, he's the center of the entire film, and he carries it perfectly. It's one of the best performances I have seen from him. And the entire supporting cast is great. Sergio Castellos makes for he's probably the best comedic relief in the film. He is playing the cardinal with the biggest personality, for sure. He's like a lot of these cardinals vying for that next spot. And he hits his vape at one point in this film, and it's hilarious seeing a cardinal just in the middle of the scene like hit a vape. It's like, oh yeah, they are humans in the modern age. Lithgow and Tucci are both wonderful in their respective roles. I don't think either of their roles ask a ton of them, and they don't have any like huge moments or scenes in my opinion, but they do very good with what they are given. And Isabella Rossellini, I feel like people are kind of underplaying both the size of her role and like how good she is and the impact of her role, because she garnered the biggest audience reaction throughout the whole film. There was a mid-movie break in the screening, or mid-movie applause break in the screening for her big moment. You'll know the moment when you see it, but everyone just like clap, clap. Isabella Rossellini slayed that scene.
Although we sisters are supposed to be invisible, God has nevertheless given us eyes and ears.
And yeah, she only really has one big scene, but she is there throughout a lot of the film in the background, surfing face, giving her reactions and side eyes to everything that all these annoying men are doing. I think she's great in this film. I don't think it's a tiny role, and she's probably my second favorite performance in it. She's the second biggest standout in my opinion. The entire film takes place over several monotonous, tedious days of vote. You can feel the feeling of isolation and almost it feels claustrophobic at times, honestly, just all of these cardinals packed in this one building. The score is good most of the time in this. He won for All Quiet on the Western Front. That brah, brah, brah score, beating Babylon, was tragic, but this is a better score than that, I would say. It's still a little too much sometimes. Like, it's a little too melodramatic sometimes with some of the scenes. It's like the smallest of things would happen, and the score in the background just kind of takes you out of the scene where it's like the most intense dramatic thing. It's like, okay, chill it out a little, chill out a little. But for the most part, I think it works throughout the film. But there are moments where it's like, okay, go off, I guess, if you have to. I was entertained throughout. I feel like it's a great premise with all the scandal, drama, and tension between these popes. But when it's that, like, an hour and I forget the runtime of this film, I think it's like 2 hours. When it's like an hour and 50 minutes of build up and stuff like that, and then it leads to such a unexpected and kind of unearned and not serious and underdeveloped ending, and then it just kind of ends there. It's kind of disappointing leaving the theater. It's like, that's an interesting idea for how to end this film. There's a lot of stuff that you could, like I said, you could really dig into if you gave yourself time to do that. But instead, it's just kind of like, and who's going to win. If you've watched enough movies, you're like, okay, this person's going to win. And then there's a twist surrounding that. And the movie just kind of ends. And it's like, you really could have explored that twist. They don't have many good choices for the popes here, honestly. Most of these dudes suck. They should have just chosen Isabella Rossellini to be the pope. But they don't. These cardinals, they've got some dirty secrets. They got some tea. It's kind of crazy. It's not expected, honestly, knowing the church. It does parallel a little bit, maybe not as intensely, the different politics and morals and ethics and beliefs within the church, because there's, some more liberal, progressive people. There's some more conservative, not progressive people with different ideas and ethics. And that's interesting. It would have been nice to have the characters debating their different ideas and ethics and like talking about their opposing morals. And instead, it's just kind of them talking about how the other person isn't a good choice and how they don't like actually like have any fun debates or discussions. It's kind of just like, well, we've got to do this, and this person's got some questionable behavior in their past, and blah blah blah, which is fine. It's still entertaining. I just would have liked more. Honestly, I know this is an oversaid statement. I feel like this maybe would have worked better as a TV show. The film itself just kind of has like a prestige TV feel to it, more so than a film feel to it. No offense. Maybe each episode you have every candidate have more of an arc and development about their past and all that stuff, and it could build up even more tension and investment. And instead, it's just kind of like, he had some bad behavior in his past and he did some questionable stuff, and I'm not sure about his politics. And it's just kind of like they're quickly written off. And I feel like, I don't know, something about it's just kind of like, I think this could have been a good TV show, but it's not. It's a movie, and it's still a good movie. It's a well-made thriller in the church. I had a fun time watching it. I was just a little disappointed in how empty it felt at the end. Take your dad to it. He'll love it. You'll definitely probably at least like it. It's a hard film to hate. It's like a solid, for me at least, it's a solid 3-star. Like, it's nothing special, but you'll have a fun time watching it. And there's some good performances and all that stuff. That's Conclave. Oscars. I've separated this into 2 different tiers. I think tier 1, the stuff that I'll definitely be nominated for, is Focus, his main push this year. It'll get Best Picture. It'll get Best Actor for Ralph Fiennes. I think he is potentially win competitive. He's in the top 2 or 3 there. It'll get Adapted Screenplay. Maybe win competitive there, but he's not a writer-director, and that's what they tend to go for at the Oscars. So I'd probably not have him winning right now. I think his name's Peter Straughan or something. It's not Berger who wrote it. Score. Tier 2 are stuff, and I'll say it for each one, that it could maybe get, it could maybe miss. Director, it could maybe get it. I wouldn't have him in there right now, but if something falls off, I would have him at my 6th spot, so he could easily sneak in. Supporting actress, I do have Rossellini in there, because that's a very up in the air category. There's really only 1 or 2 people who feel safe there, and I feel like she's Isabella Rossellini. She's been doing campaigning. She was the only one there at TIFF out of the actors. She's getting tributes. She's getting like honor awards and stuff like that. I've already seen a few of them. I don't think she's ever been nominated. And she has the scene. Like, she has the one moment in the film that I feel like everyone, no matter how you feel about the film, loved. The one moment in the film that caused like an audible applause reaction. I feel like people are going to remember that. Like, that's one of the main things I remember leaving the film. And she's great in it throughout. And I just feel like in an open category, when It's Isabella Rossellini giving an applause-worthy moment scene. She can kind of just Emily Blunt her way in there, because Emily Blunt didn't have a ton besides that one scene. It's honestly same level, in my opinion, and others may disagree, where they've got one scene and then they've got a few other scenes where they're nice, but they've got that one scene. So I'd have her in there. Supporting actor, there's just too many options. You've got Tucci, you've got Lithgow, you've got Castellos, you've got Carlos Diaz. And they're all equally great. There's not one of them that is has more to do and is rising above the others. You could probably argue Tucci, but even then, I think you would need one or two more scenes. Editing, if it's a top tier contender, maybe the edit it is edited like a thriller, all that stuff. It's possible. I think I have it as my 6 right now, but it's totally possible. Production design, I do have it in there. It's the Vatican, it's all that stuff. Costume design, I think that's my 6 because they're wearing their robes and gowns, beautiful robes. It's my 6 in the category, so it's definitely possible. But the other 5, I feel more confident in. Cinematography, maybe. I think that's once again my 6. So as you can tell, even in these tech categories, if I don't have them in there, it easily, if something happens, could just jump back in there. And then sound is also possible because there's some weird sound design choices that definitely make it showy. There's as you see in the trailer, there's explosions, people losing their hearing. There's more sound design than you would expect in this kind of film, but I still wouldn't have it in there. I don't think it's going to be that strong. So I would have it getting picture, actor, adapted screenplay, score, supporting actress, and production design currently. And it could easily get 1 or 2 other texts. So it's probably a 6 to 8 nominations range. Tell me what you think about the film down below. If you've seen it, it comes out soon in theaters. So hopefully this is well timed. But yeah, comment your thoughts down below. Like, subscribe for the upcoming season we have, and thank you.